There you go. All right.
So we gonna leave here and we gonna go to the old train depot. So I'm gonna kind of show y'all that train depot, museum. Well, a place where we're gonna put a museum. I know y'all done heard of Hook Spur, right? Somebody probably read about it, where it all started. So we're gonna try to go there. It's really not nothing there, but I just want to give y'all a sense of where it was.
Can you tell us a little bit about it too, for those that might not know?
Hook Spur is where the church where the ride started. This is where it started from. Allegedly it started from, they was having a meeting and Union police or something came in and gunfight started. Somebody was killed and the ride started.
All right, you're going to have to guide me here. So
Okay, you can make a right.
fantastic. Let's go. Let's go.
I think they want us to.
Is anyone coming with us, or? Oh yeah, they're all coming.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice one.
Okay, we're gonna go all the way down and make a left.
All right. Let me write down.
Here's my step.
So when were the riots? What year was that?
1919.
1919.
1919.
Okay.
I think a guy named Mr. Quentin Boulder been did this tour, but I'm gonna do it. He had to go to the doctor today, so I kind of know just about everything too. So.
Oh no, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you feel free. Like honestly, like I want to say, well, at least for my behalf, I don't know most of the stories, so I mean, I'll take in anything you say. So
Okay.
bring it on.
Okay, but you'll get a chance to hear him, and I think he's gonna take you on the tour tomorrow. I think maybe
I think
one day, tomorrow maybe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what's in this field here?
That's Milo. They call it Milo. They feed it to cows. They make different things out of it.
Do you live around the area, or?
Yeah, I live in Elaine. Most of all my life I lived here.
Straight.
Yeah, straight all the way out to there. This house here is like a plantation house. We probably see it when we come back. That house been there a long time too. I think it was there in 1919.
Left, right?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go to this intersection right here. We're gonna make a right and go up on this trail walk.
Okay.
Right here.
Well, that's
Should I park here? Or?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can park anywhere in here. They probably gonna want to get out and look at some of these pictures and stuff up here.
so. Is this like right? This was like kind of in the hub back in the day.
Yeah. It used to be a train depot up here,
Okay.
and this is where it was. And if you can look at these billboards over here, they got a lot of pictures, old pictures, 1919, but this is where the train came in. This is where the soldiers came in 1919. I think they onboarded him. They kind of camped out, I'm thinking maybe down here, and just right here on the side of the track, and maybe down this way, because most of all this was just wooded. It was a lot of wooded area, so if y'all feel like it, you can get out and look at these pictures. This a start. This is trail part. The railroad went out of business, so this is trail.
This is incredible. This is all brand new.
And this here is the depot that used to be up here. The old depot.
That's how it looked in
That's how it looked in 1910. That's in 1910, not 1919. So, this whole store here still exists.
Wow.
It's right down the street. We can go down there and look at it. Basically, it looks about the same. This ain't got a lot of stuff in it. Yeah.
And it looks like, and I think we're going to do the day of service in the museum tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. I know that in Tulsa, like a lot of the animosity that the white people had towards the black people was because of their financial stability. Was that similar here as well?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think that's why the ride really was hard, but people don't talk about that.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't talk about it. They just want to say people with sharecroppers,
Yeah.
but people own land. And when the ride started, it affected everybody. Financial, kill people. Just because you weren't at the church, that means you weren't. That still mean you weren't affected by it. So but they don't talk about it. That's something they don't talk about.
Okay, yeah.
So there's more pictures on this side. So this kind of Elaine in 1919. This kind of how it looked on that picture. Then some of the guys there, Elaine 12. The people that was charged with murder, 12 men that were charged with murder. And nobody white was ever brought. All these people got killed and nobody was charged with it, And they just went and picked 12 black men, took them up there and sent them to death. I don't think he took them 30 minutes.
Yeah, about half an hour.
Yeah.
And then the 1927 flood. Y'all seen the movie Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they talk, and it kind of starts tail end of the 1927 flood. And Ma Rainey came into this area and gave a lot of free concerts, mainly on the Mississippi side.
Oh, my grandma's on the way.
And this is on a trail. So
Yeah, this is on the trail, yeah.
Railroad trail and made it into kind of a bike walk.
Bike walk trail. And they both go another maybe 20 miles south here, this trail.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad's name is Willie, so that makes sense.
Now that's where you get that good exercise. You stay on the trail.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing that with my bike.
But to me, it made no sense
I was
because
just
if you
saying
spent
that.
$40
That's my
million, you could put that in this town, fix the road.
You spent $40 million?
$40 million on this thing that nobody even knew. I'm going to see a few people here.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll open up after it's completed.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
$40 million.
I think the trail the government put up, and I think the phones, I think they put up another $20 million.
Rosewood, sorry.
$40 million.
Maybe
They
that's,
said they got.
that's not Rosewood. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Well, in Glendora, it was the same kind of struggle, and the mayor left right after he did the tour with us, and he's trying to get federal money to help support. They have a community like y'all here.
Right.
They have a community-based museum. They built it up from the ground up. They've got no support whatsoever from the state of Mississippi. All the money goes to support the people in Sumner, but that was the people that let those murderers off. It's just like here where they're trying to get the money to people
They trying to put everything in hell instead of here in Elaine where it happened.
Right.
So in here they ain't trying to. They trying to say it didn't happen. So we ain't gonna get no help here. If we don't raise the money ourselves or do that, it's never gonna happen.
So at the start on Lake City,
Do you know anything about that?
so they were talking about incidents that happened. There were 30 different cities in the United States. I don't know anything about what happened in Lake City. I know Rosewood.
it doesn't mention, so a number of things happen in Lake City. I mean, how long do you have?
Okay, that's fair. Well, this was
So,
in 1919, I
in
think. Only in 1919.
In Lake City.
Between May and October, so that's the time.
I'll do some research on it.
So in Lake
Yeah.
City, in 1865, their plantation owners got together and tried to keep black people from leaving and being free. And the Union Army tried to rescue people, but they arrived too late. So that's the big massacre that I know about.
Not the Civil War battle that happened at a Cody. I mean, it's not
No.
Cody, the Ocean Bend, Ocean Pond.
Right, that was a
Which was
different
like
one.
the year
That happened,
before.
yeah, you're right, during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But what happened in Lake City in 1919, I'm not sure.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
Great research question.
Yeah.
You know what the language are? Oh, but you can
Ride because that's why they call the ride. They was breaking out everywhere. You know.
The corridor in Georgia almost got African American. I mean, a lot of anti-black pogroms happened. Rosewood, Foley, Perry, Georgia. I mean, there was a corridor in the middle of Georgia, Fulton County. African Americans were driven out of Forsyth County. Thousands were driven out. But again, it's a similar story everywhere. At the beginning of the process, maybe 30–35% of African Americans own their own farm, own land, own business. The process, like Tulsa, Elaine, Long, Charleston. At the end of the process, people are now tenants, sharecroppers. They're landless. But see, historians mix up the chronology. It's just simple chronology, and so, like you were saying earlier, they want to make it seem as if all black people were sharecroppers in 1919. It's not true. They owned, especially, you have to remember, during World War I, African Americans were able to save up a lot of money because in this area there were a lot of black veterans who made a lot of, well, I say a lot of money, but back then a lot of money because they're deployed overseas, right? Their paychecks are adding up. They can't spend them. I know this because when I was in Central America for 2 years, I was the richest person on the planet because I was getting checks. I couldn't spend them anywhere, right? I'm in the middle of the jungle. And so when I got back after 2 years, I probably could have bought land if I wanted. And so when they got back from France, man, they had enough to buy, not a plantation, but, 10, 20, 30, 40 acres. And so the rate of black land ownership skyrockets between about 1916 and 1920. And that's what a lot of these anti-black riots are about, so-called riots, right? And it's just that historians have blown it. They've blown it here, they've blown it in Tulsa. I mean, Scott Ellsworth was the first historian who really, I think, and John Hope Franklin kind of got Tulsa right, because he was talking about the property loss that African Americans suffered. The other misconception is that the people who carry out these massacres are mobs. That's not true. They're highly organized paramilitary operations. Oftentimes, you'll see the same groups involved. The American Legion, white military veterans. Here, federal troops, right? Just come back from Europe. And so they're anything but mobs. Now, I'm not saying there weren't mob actions, but to kind of conceptualize this, you think about the technology in 1919. You go into a community like this with 100 people and you start shooting them. What's the first thing that happens? You run out of ammunition. You have to be resupplied. Okay, so right there, that tells you that these are not just a bunch of random white men in mobs. They're resupplied. The other thing is intelligence. They have to know who to hit, who to target, who to undermine. So they're going after black leaders, like union leaders, the Progressive Householders Union. That organization is a black fraternal organization. It was in existence from Reconstruction. And so how did these white people know where to go, how to take out the leaders? Intelligence. That's what I'm saying. You have to have almost kind of a military mindset to realize these white people are not, it wasn't just like in 1919, white people got really angry at black people. Unfortunately, that's the way it's often taught in the school text. Like, you'll see things like, they'll say, well, you know, Irish people had an animosity towards black people. Well, that may be true, but that doesn't lead you to go and massacre people just because you may not like a person. They were being directed. In this case, they're being directed by timber owners, plantation owners, you know, people who own large plots of land. Because again, at the end of the process, like the men in that picture, some of those men own significant pieces of land. By the end of this process, in 1920, they have no land. It has been taken from them. And the tragedy of American history, of history writers, like, and I'm embarrassed for my profession, is, like I said, we blew the whole narrative. And it took people like John L. Franklin to get it right.
I was also wondering, because I know in Tulsa, like, the buying power, like how many times the dollar circulated within the community was a threat. Was that also the same here? And do you know, like, how many times? Because I think in Tulsa it was maybe 15. I don't know the exact number, but it was astronomical how many times, like, they spent money within themselves.
Every community was unique. So Tulsa was a little different. Durham was a little different because Tulsa was more urbanized. You had black furniture stores. You had black, you know, the businesses were a lot more built up. It was much more urbanized. But you're getting the idea because the business people here were more geared towards farm commodities, cooperative buying, and cooperative purchasing. That's another big deal that historians miss. When they think of union, they think of workers going out on strike, right? So there was some of that in 1919. But the main thing was, how can we combine as black farmers and combine so that we can get a better price for our cotton or our rice or indigo or whatever we're growing. That's what the white business establishment was trying to stop, was the cooperative growing, purchasing, and selling of the crop. White people wanted to be in control of especially the selling of the crop, right? And we know that the leaders of the union, who are also fraternal lodge members and also business people, are reaching out, right, to other cooperatives. This was the basis of the attack on the African American community in Longview, Texas. Longview's struggle and the Elaine struggle are very similar. Of course, the massacre was way, way bigger. But Longview is a very similar story. Alcoa, a very similar story, where black people are beginning to you know, yeah, exactly. And the biggest thing, though, was that was the global commodity prices in cotton in World War I. You know, seeing the landscape, seeing all these absentee-owned farms on the Mississippi side of the river. And I was telling the students, these could be food farms. They could feed people. And instead, they're food deserts because the land is owned by so few people. I mean, that's a tragedy.
There's a wasp.
Oh. Well, yeah, that's probably something I was gonna say. Seriously though, he's right. All this is true. And up to 1919, black people had wealth because they had their little farms. They were farming, growing cotton. And after 1919, all the wealth was gone for a black person. You know, so there's no wealth from 1919 till now. And even now, you know, you see all this land. These people made millions and millions of dollars. That thing there coming right there probably cost $500,000, but all the farmers got it. And then what they did was drive all the little people out. You know, the black people that were able to hold on to a little something, they just drove them out of business. You know, through the government. Like you said, they was working smart with what they were doing. And they wouldn't give them crop loans. All the oil stores will tell you that. Just check it out. They'll tell you that. They wouldn't give them crop loans, sold them bad seeds. You know, anything that would just, you know, you got to make a living, so you got to do something. You know, so it's oil stores of people. And these people came here and killed, just like when the military hard down here. And my grandmother was 15 years old. She was 15 years old And she said the military came here, and I'm talking about, you think you 15 years old and you see all these people getting killed, and they thought that the soldiers would help them, but the soldier was killing people too. Yeah, it was people hiding in woods, and the soldier was around them, just killing them. That's the oral stories. And if you listen to it, you can't do nothing but believe, because people you can't make this stuff up. You know, so yes, and still this town is segregated. South side, most white. North side, no whites, just blacks. You know, so I'm talking about it's still segregated. You know, and that's how they want it, because they do nothing here to help people. They won't let nothing come in here. The farmers won't let nothing come in. No kind of business unless it's dealing with farm chemicals. If you look around, you got all these tractor park places, chemical places. That's all they'll let come in here. You know, and they make plenty of money.
Yeah. When I was a graduate student, I may have told the story in 2019, Mr. White, but Revlon Corporation, y'all know Revlon is?
Yeah.
Cosmetics and hair. They had a proposal to build a big plant in where? Brinkley.
Yeah.
Okay. And the whole town came out for it because the cotton compress had just went out in the late 80s. And so this is in the early 90s. And Revlon had this whole plan to build a big plant in this town, which was economically depressed. You know, Brinkley. Brinkley's still in the Delta. It's like 2 counties over from there. And so what happened was, you know, corporate spokesmen came in, gave their pitch, and the head of the Chamber of Commerce got up. He said, "Excuse me, how much money are you proposing to pay the entry-level workers at this plant?" And the Revlon guy, everyone remembered him as this young, really bright, enthusiastic, you know, corporate spokesman. He said, "We're going to pay competitive wages. We're going to pay above minimum wage, and we're interested in town's development." And the Chamber of Commerce guy stopped and said, "Stop right there. You are never building your plant in this community. You will ruin our people paying them this kind of salary. Our people are not used to making that kind of wage. And so we don't do things like y'all do up north." And so that plant ended up being, you know where they built that? On the road to Little Rock, actually. So Little Rock got it instead of Brinkley. But yeah, the Chamber of Commerce didn't want people to be making a decent wage. You know, they said, you said, "You'll ruin our people." That's exactly what they said.
A lot of people leaving here, you know, and people leave here all the time because they know housing. And the farmers, what they do is like, if they got farmhouses, now they tear them down. When somebody move out of them, they just tear them down, because farming done got kind of sophisticated, smart. They don't need a lot of people working like they used to, because they got chemical. You know, chemical do it for them, you know. So, and they said people lazy here. People ain't lazy here. People just don't want to work for nothing. Right. You know, you work on the farm, you got to decide if you're going to pay your light bill or you're going to buy something to eat, you know. And they never give you, no matter how much money they make, they never give you enough money to get ahead. You will never get ahead on the farm. You'll just get by, you know, so.
Are there any more like black farmers who own land, or was it all completely like taken?
It's a few. Maybe it's not a handful in this area. Maybe 4 or 5 people. And they don't own a lot of land. They just own a 40, 50 acres, maybe 100 acres, maybe 200, you know, because they just been wiped out. And, you know, it's hard when you can't get a crop loan or some money to you know, buy what you need to farm. On farming now, everything. You know, so they've been forced out. Like Paul was saying, they won't let anything come in here. People try to bring stuff in, business in this community, they won't let it happen. You know, they try to either take everything to Helena. That's where they put the Memorial Park. We tried to get them to put it here, but they put it in Helena. But the massacre happened here. So why would you put it in Helena? And that question was brought up, and can't nobody answer. You know, plus I think it's a slap in black people's face, generally, because that's where they took those 12 men. Well, that might not be all of them around there, but they took 12 men, took took them in that courthouse and beat them and made them, you know, say they murdered somebody. You know, so, but they put it up there. You know, so.
And the courthouse is here.
No, the courthouse not here, but I'm talking about that's where they took the men.
Oh,
That's where they had the trial.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
And the memorial is right in front of the courthouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
The irony.
So these people can make it really bad for you here. If you live here long enough, you'll know that. They can really make it bad for you here. They ain't really lynching people. Some different days, but they got doing it. You know, you can't get a job, or you know, if you piss some of them off, you go further, and they still can make it hard. But you can't get a job, you can't work, you can't get money. You know, so there's a lot go on now. You know, you see all these people. It look like a friendly little town, but it's really not. You know, everybody kind of stay to themselves. You know, so it's just a segregated town. Probably, you know what? We planted a tree right there in this little spot over there. Somebody came up here twice and chopped it down. So they brought very people in here to investigate it, and they put it on kids.
What?
You know, so we put that tree there twice. Yeah, they said it was vandalism. Kids chopped it down. They were just doing. Didn't have nothing to do on the weekend. But you see all these trees. Ain't no more other trees. But that tree got.
Yeah, they gonna chop this.
Chop that down. You know.
You said you did this twice.
Also we put it back up here, and it came up it just died for some reason. So now we trying to put a placard, you know, one of those state plaques, and we have a hard time with it. I think they just don't want it up. You know, these people are very powerful.
Are some of the same families that, like, for example, own the plantations, or even from 1919 that own some of the farmland, do they still own it? Like, is it still in the family today?
Yeah, it's still in the family. That's why I said no generation will for black people, but white people. And you see dealers here. One deal was good dealer, but all these dealers, this whole land on this side is owned by white people. And they were not good dealer. They'll just let them sit there and just right.
I have a question. I'm not sure. I saw some signs in Spanish back over there at the Elaine Center, Legacy Center. So what I guess I wanted to ask, is there a Latino population here, and do they hire H-2A workers to come and work in the farms? Or is it like migrant workers to work the farms, or is it just people within the community that are working the farms?
It all depends. That's a good question. Somebody else may have. They have people come here, but like when Trump came president, everybody just kind of scattered. You know, all the migrant workers, all of them, they just left. They was here, but they just up and left. They won't even they come in. I remember a while, some years ago, they wanted to put some subdivisions over on this side of town. And you know what they did? They started zoning stuff. They started zoning stuff to keep more subdivisions from coming in. So they won't let you, you know, you trying every corner they cut you down. And these are smart people. They ain't dumb, no kind of way. You know, they try to follow the law.
Definitely, they make it seem as
Just seem like,
Do you know when they shut down the railroad? It was
in the 80s, I believe.
Oh wow! So it lasted even after like the 40s, World War II, and everything.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, I say it's segregated because people stay in different places. You know, they really don't want black people on this side, and it's like a pool over. It's a pool like right behind the school, and it really is a segregated pool. I'm talking about. You can't get over there. It's a few black people been over there before, but I think a membership is like maybe $1,500. So yeah, there you go right there. Yeah. It's not a community pool. It's a private pool. But if you go over there and you want to join, they'll give you this high price. But I'm thinking it's like $1,500. Yeah, just you come over there, right? And there's the pool right there. Yeah. Yeah. So it's open every day. It used to be a road where you could drive through there. You could just drive right over there because it's a gravel road over there. But they came and dug it up. So.
Do they work? Do they work in here?
No.
Or do they work outside?
They work at the casinos in Mississippi. They work at a boot factory over here in D-Weed. It's maybe 50, 60 miles from here. Oh. I'm sorry.